The 2015 Polyglot Gathering is brought to you by italki. Become fluent in any language.
So who has dabbled with Finnish a little bit? A little bit? Yeah, you're shy because you don't want to put it on your name tag, but you've looked at it. Okay. Or who has at least heard the language before? Okay, it's pretty good. And who just doesn't know anything about it and has heard that it's mystical and elves live there?
Are you one of these?
Okay, I just wanted to get a kind of idea of the breakup of who's in the room, because introduction can mean so many different things to different people. So I don't know if I'm officially starting my talk right now, but what I can say while we have these things, nothing's happening here, but hopefully somebody went to go get people chocolate here. Okay, good. So what I had kind of imagined is giving you guys an introduction with a big picture of speaking Finnish. So who here has heard that it's the hardest language in the world? Okay, that's good. Okay, you didn't hear what I just said then, because that's not true. So I wanted to give you guys a big picture of all the aspects of Finnish, because some stuff is actually really easy compared to other languages. Of course, perspective is always the most important thing. But then some stuff is a bit more challenging. It's a new way of thinking. So I want to give you an overview of all of this, and I don't want to get lost in all the tiny details, but if you do have burning questions, you can ask it. But if I feel that we're getting too far from this big picture, I will just bring us back. So just, you have been forewarned. I'm also kind of nervous. I don't know what you guys are going to ask. So we'll see. But luckily Paula's here, so thank you. Yes, in the meantime, should we just start with our conversation? I can ask you about breakfast and you can, yeah. Tuon tänne ja voidaan puhua tässä. Eli, joo. Tervetuloa lavalle.
Kiitos.
Eli sä kerroit Elena tässä Porista.
Joo.
Joo.
Laulalta tuttuja ihmisiä on siellä. Joo.
Mitä sä söit aamupuolella?
Siellä oli murmuroja ja sitten oli kahvia. Kahvia oli ihan muuta. No suomalaiset tykkää kahvista, joo. Ja sitten oli leipää ja marmelaadia.
Okei, joo, se on ihan tavallinen saksalainen aamupala.
Joo. No suomalainen aamupala yleensä puuroa ja jotain tällaista.
Ruisleipä.
Joo, ruisleipä ja puuro. On vähän erilainen aamupala.
Joo, niin ammata, joskus on kiva matkusta vähän ja syödä erilaisia. Okay, so who understood any of that? Okay, cool. Well, we have one.
I understood one word.
Oh, what was the word?
Suomi.
Swami. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, that means Finnish. Yeah. So you can recognize them even the bits and pieces. Okay. So I'm going to call on you. I'm going to ask you more questions if there's a really hard question. Okay. So now I have internet connection. Okay, so here's my favorite picture that I've ever. I don't actually remember if I took this picture, if my friend took this picture. But I wanted to show you guys the. Can you see? Yeah. I wanted to show you guys a very idealistic and beautiful, this is what Finland looks like in the summer when nature explodes and comes alive. And did I spell this right, by the way? So Suomi on salaperäinen kieli ja kaunis maa. And this says, so Suomi, somebody knew who that meant?
Yeah.
Finland, or Finnish, so both. So it's a mysterious or kind of, there's a mystery to it, language, and beautiful country. So Suomi is both the language and the country. That's lesson one. And this is what it looks like on the longest day of the year, which is the 21st of June, which is a big holiday celebration all over the Nordic countries. And in Finland, it's called Juhannus. So I'm not going to talk that much about culture, but this is my picture. Pretty things in there. So as a kind of overview, big picture, as I mentioned earlier, I'll give you Finnish in a nutshell in one slide. That is oversimplified, obviously, but as I said, you guys can ask more questions. We'll look at the numbers from 1 to 10 because those are really fun and you can start to learn how to read. Actually, sorry, after Finnish in a nutshell, we'll learn how to read in one slide because it's a very phonetic language. So I'm sure you guys won't have trouble with that. Then I have a Finnish song, but I don't think we can listen to it because whatever. So that can be your homework. And we'll look at like 5 basic vocab words which we can then use to play around with the language and look at cases because that's a hot topic in Finnish. Like, oh my god, 15 cases, but don't worry, we'll make sense of them today. A dash of grammar and basic grammar oddities is just basically me explaining the verb to have and to be, but it's kind of interesting. And then I don't know if we'll have time to go through all of these, but what I want you guys to do, and if you have paper, write down no, actually, yes. Well, if you have one sentence that you really, really want to know what it is in Finnish by the end of today, there's like way too many of you in here to get all your sentences, but you can write it down, and then if you have like your burning question, I'll take sentence questions later, and Paula will help me if that. Okay, so yes, so please write down your sentence if you have one already in mind, if not just what you would like to know to say in Finnish by the end of today. I will give you 20 seconds to think about it. You're all looking at me, so. Yeah. I wonder how you'd say this. Okay. I don't think that was 20 seconds, but okay, so here's the breakdown of Finnish in a nutshell. So I put it on the next slide, but the first thing was it's a phonetic language. So just knowing the alphabet, you can read anything. We don't have diphthongs, we don't have combinations of letters that make a certain sound or anything like that. It's just exactly what you see is what you get. And that is actually something interesting with the Finnish culture too, that you say what you mean and everything is very straightforward. So that I think is one of the advantages of learning Finnish, that you know what's going on when people communicate things very, very clearly. So these 15 cases, I know Hungarian has 23, I believe, Finnish has 15. We only use 12. The other 3 are like if you really want to read some more advanced, older literature, right? Then, some Finnish people don't even know all of them, so this is for us. But basically everything is inflected. So you have nouns. Okay, hold on. Let me jump to this. So you don't have genders and you don't have articles. So think about a case as just something that you put onto the end of a noun, onto the end of an adjective, sometimes the end of a verb, if you're like in the eating, like Danny said in German, you could say like beim Essen. Yeah, so we can also say stuff like that in Finnish, just in one word. And we'll look at some cases today. 6 out of 12 of them are local cases. So it's not something that it's not concepts that are super abstract. Local cases basically mean you're here, or you're going to there, or you're coming from there, or it's very directional. And I think this is built into a lot of languages and into the way that we perceive the world, so we just have to say it out loud in Finnish. This is what scares a lot of people with Finnish. So stems of the words may change when you add a case onto the end, but you just start somewhere. That's my advice. And yeah, super straightforward compound words, think German. So when you see something that's like really, 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 really long, then I'm sorry, I don't have the lyrics to that song because that's actually I can open those really quickly because we do have a few minutes. So you can see some written Finnish. So when you see really, really long words, they're usually basic short words glued together. Okay, the song doesn't have that many long words. Anyway, this is what it looks like. We'll come back to this. Okay, so wait, did I get all that stuff? Oh right, and then this translating versus I was trying to figure out how to express this. But basically the way that you say something in a different language and the way that you express it in Finnish is very different. So with these directions, then you might just have to learn a new way of expressing something, but ultimately it's very, very straightforward. So it's just that if you take a sentence in English and you put in the translator, it comes out in Finnish, and then you can't figure out what word is which, that might be confusing in the beginning. But then once you learn to just think in that way, in that very directional, straightforward way, then it's a lot easier. And so yeah, good news, no genders. Han is he or she, se is it, he is they, and ne is like plural, it, they, but yeah, so, yeah, have that. And then no articles, which is a godsend. This is like, the language I was learning before Finnish was German.
How
So
boring.
says the Austrian.
So easy.
Okay, how am I doing with time? All right, so I just wanted to point out reading in Finnish. So I want you guys to all walk out of this room knowing how to read in Finnish. I'm not going to read through the whole alphabet because it's pretty straightforward, but you always stress the first syllable of a word, always. So my name is Irina in English, in Finnish I'm Irina. So put that stress on the first syllable. Well, we can look at some other words later. And yeah, so obviously, this is ye. Yeah, these are all like the same. Q we don't really use, but it's who. Ve, so these guys are the same. Ve, ve. Y is U, so like you with umlaut in German. This is borrowed from Swedish. It's actually only in when like Swedish names are written in Finnish. There are no Finnish words that have this O. What's that line of O? Swedish O. A. So you have A and A. You can try it. A and call it ugly. And any questions?
Huh?
Sorry, Irina, I was focusing on the what was U again? It's U.
Yeah. This is U. Y is U. So that's where that's different. And then yeah, and these guys are the same. They so like
Do they sound different?
no, this means old, vanha. And sometimes vanha, if it's like a place that's trying to be like really authentic old, they'll write it like this with the W, vanha. And like right this weekend it's Labor Day, that's called vappu. And then some places will write it vappu with a W. Do you have any insight on why this is followed?
No, it's the double is something old.
Yeah. It's not, W isn't really used at all
No.
in today's Finnish. It's just to make something look old. And vowel harmony is basically because in cases you have vowels and you might not necessarily know if you should use an a or an an or an o, an u or an u. Right? So vowel harmony tells us that these guys, they stick together. The like umlaut type of, I'm sorry, I don't actually know what they're called, I just call them umlauts. These guys are in the same word, so you won't have them mixing. And then these guys as well, a, o, u. And then if you have a word with only these letters, it will go in this one, that's why the circle is like this. I will explain what this means, but I'll give you an example. Tie. This means road. So if you say like on the road, you'll say tiellä because these guys go with these guys. But don't worry, we're going to talk about that right next. Okay, so now we can practice reading. The numbers from 1 to 10. So I'll read them once and then we can read them together. Yeah. Ready? Okay. So we have yksi, kaksi, kolme, neljä, viisi. This is so cool. Kuusi, seitsemän, kahdeksan, yhdeksän, kymmenen. So I forgot to mention, when you see two letters together, like this, you pronounce both of them. So I think you guys just said what I said for that.
The pronunciation of the 9,
Yhteksän. Yhteksän. Yeah. So with the vowel harmony, because we have this U, that's why this one has umlauts. And here we have an A and an E, so that's why this guy like doesn't have umlauts basically. Like I was wondering this when I was learning, I was like, how do I remember that there's an umlaut here and an umlaut here, but there's no umlaut here? So it's because here there's an A. Does that make sense? So in this circle, then questions, does that make sense? No? Yes, maybe. Okay, somebody. Okay, cool. Should we do this again? We can maybe like go around the room. One person says 1, 2, 3. You can look at the slide. Okay, so Taxi. You guys can look at each other so you know who's next. Yeah, please. Needs glasses. So this is like. Yeah, sorry, this is the word. Yhteksän.
Kymmenen.
Yksi.
2, 3, 4,
5.
6.
Du bist falsch.
10.
Kaksi.
3.
4.
6.
7. 8.
Yhteksän.
Kymmenen.
I don't know. Taxi. 3. 4.
Easy.
Skip someone. I can't see you guys anymore. So.
It's like here.
Kahdeksan.
9.
1,
Kaksi.
3.
4,
5. 7.
8.
9.
There's some more people on the floor there.
Skip me in and you can see.
11. Taxi.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Did anybody not get a turn? Put your hand up. Nice. Okay. Any questions about the numbers?
Yeah, it's not a question. When I went to kindergarten in Denmark, then the kids were like, it was a fun thing to say yksi kaksi kolme, and nobody knew what it was.
I think Carol. I heard in Sweden everyone knows how to say like yksi kaksi kolme, but that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stop that.
Yeah.
No, Yksi kaksi kolme bodde på en holme.
And they lived on an island.
Oh. Almost. Sorry, I don't have a map of Finland. Almost.
Can I just ask the public a question? When you see this Seitsemann, do you also think of this teacher of Heidi, the old Frau Seitsemann? Am I the only one? You're the only one.
Austrian, right?
But now I know.
I think like Nelia is a beautiful girl's name.
Yeah.
I think it could be. It could be, but my boyfriend's just like, it means 4. Nelia! Like, yeah, I don't know.
For me, it's the name of a dog, of a female dog.
A female what?
Dog.
Dog. In Poland. Okay. Let's try. Okay, I was
Easy
gonna
to
show you.
remember.
Yeah, Nelia. I was going to show you a song by Anna Puu. And by the way, Puu means tree, not what you think. But I don't have the internet, so I can't, or I do have the internet. I don't know, whatever. Let's just keep going. This is what a Finnish person looks like.
Africa.
A couple words. This is like 5 words. Super basic. Piha. It means yard. Okay, there's a reason I chose this word, but we'll come back to it. Auto.
Auto.
Means car. I found this great blog on auto maintenance. Written by a Finnish guy. I'm assuming a Finnish guy. Mr. Auto. Let's figure out what that means. Bussi. Bussi actually means bag.
Pussy.
Yeah. Talo.
Talo.
House. Right? Are these sounding like impossibly hard to you guys?
No.
I chose the words carefully. Kauppa. Let's see my head. Yeah, so this is a shop or a store. I wanted to find a picture where there was actually like it said kauppa on it, but the ones that are big stores, they don't say kauppa because they have their brands, but you guys would recognize them. Kylä kauppa means village store. So this is probably in a small town somewhere. Okay, and then cognates. So
Question.
yeah, yes.
So, in the word kauppa, you said before because of the vowel harmony, but that does not apply to compound words then?
It doesn't apply to compound words. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Great, yeah. So kylä is village, kauppa is store. So you can mix the a and the a because it's two words.
So that would be an easy way to recognize the compounds if you don't
Yes.
know the words.
Beautiful. Yes. Yeah. So then you could be like, okay, this long word, I smell something fishy. There's something hidden inside. All right. And cognates. So Finnish is famous for not having any cognates, which is a lie. But I noticed, like, if I'm looking at a post, I read a post on Betty Lewis's blog, and then always in the comments there's someone's like saying, but I can't learn cognates because I'm learning Finnish and there are no cognates in Finnish. And he says, I don't know about Finnish, and I'm at home thinking, oh, I do. So basically, okay, this is, what does this mean? Yeah. So posti, so add an I at the end. What does this say? Pingvini. So you know, there's a certain way that these words have a way of working themselves into the language, but if you have a very basic conversation, you might not hear the cognates. But then once you start to use more specific words, like in business, for example, then there's a lot of different cognates. So yeah, just some basic words. K instead of C. C is not really very common in Finnish. It's only in loan words. T instead of TH. I can't think of an example of that right now. KS instead of X. So sometimes you'll see taxi written taxi, like this. If you can read. Oh, sorry. Sometimes P instead of B. Now I can't think of an example, but when I wrote these, I had whatever. Well, it won't come up later.
Pankki.
Pankki. Yeah. Pankki is bank. So yeah, B is like I showed you bussi, but that's a long word probably from Swedish. So right, bus. And then throw in some double letters sometimes. So that's why we have pingvini. Yeah, but mostly just add an I at the end, and then look at the person and go, right? Is that a word? So yeah, so I want to just challenge you guys. Let's try to make these into Finnish words by using some of these. So you can choose whatever word you want. You can put up your hand and guess, and at least one of you knows one thing that I taught you the other day.
Banani.
Yeah. Banani. Banani. This is, I said in the beginning that Finnish sounds like Italian, and people told me I was crazy.
Shouldn't it be banani?
Well, I guess in this, yeah, no, it's banani. It's a loan word, so I guess they do use B sometimes. But I guess this was a good example of when they don't use it and when they do. So.
But I meant that the stress is on first syllable.
Yes, the stress is always on the first syllable. Yeah. Any other? Somebody other than any? Taxi.
Just wait a minute.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Yeah. What about this one? Sexy. Sexy? Yeah. sounds funny to English ears. Because, yeah.
How do you say sexy?
Sexy gas.
Adjectives, would that be the way you form adjectives?
Not always, no. But that's one way. One way, especially I would say when it's to do with a person, like itsekäs, that would be itse is self, and itsekäs is like selfish. So sexy gas, that's a person. So yeah, so gas is one of the endings you could use to make an adjective.
A pup, a puppy.
Yeah. Oh no. I heard that you said that, so.
I meant a puppy.
Poopy.
Two
No, the other way.
double P in the middle. Puppy.
Poopy.
Then pizza. Pizza? With K?
Sorry, P-I double T. Very close. You're one letter away. One letter extra.
Pizza?
I'll show you. So very phonetic. Pizza. Wasn't it always like that?
Yeah.
What about tomato? Think banana. Tomati. It is, but then I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Paula, you can comment. But I think the stress is on the first syllable, and also when you lengthen consonants, you have to pause. So then it sounds like the stress is there too. Tomati. But I don't know how you interpret that in your own head. So.
Yeah, it's like in Hungarian that you have long vowels and they have an accent. So if you think an accent on the double vowel,
Yeah. It's like the first syllable and then all of those as well. So, yeah. Bus? I said it before. Yeah. Just to make sure you guys are listening. Okay. If you speak Swedish, you might be able to guess this. Yeah, lassi. So actually, I had no idea that this was like a Swedish word until Carol last year told me that you learned in school that a lot of words in Finnish were actually borrowed from Swedish, and that, but you can't tell because G is not a letter that we have, or we use it in Finnish, but not at the beginning of a word. Yes.
Actually, I thought that in Finnish you can't have more than one consonant at the beginning of a word.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Swedish people who want to learn Finnish, often you can recognize a learn word from Swedish that there's like a bunch of consonants missing at the beginning, but then you'll recognize it. Like tuoli is chair, from stool in Swedish, they just cut another consonant at the beginning.
So you don't.
So how do you spell stool?
S-T-O-L.
Yeah.
Are you aware of any comparative word? Someone has done any comparison between the two languages?
Not that I know. I read something about it when I was like 14, so I can't remember.
No, it's interesting to know.
Did I spell that right?
Research
So
that.
koulu is school, and is it skolan?
Skola, no N.
Skolan. Yeah. So you see? Do you see? Yes. So lassi. So add an I and drop the G. Lassi. Okay, I'll just tell you the other ones. Bari. These are very important Finnish words, by the way. Metro is the same, subway. Basso is the bass. And radio is the same. So there are cognates. Dave. Any questions?
Is there a reason why most of them end in I and radio and basso end in O?
I think that's taken from another language. That's it.
Yeah, but the others are too. They're all taken from another
I
language.
think in any languages you have radio
Yeah.
or there's a language where a radio doesn't mean a radio.
Isn't that question why don't those all end in I? Like if everything else ends in I?
Yeah, I mean tomato changes to tomati.
I would say that, I don't know, you can make up your own stories.
Moderne Wörterflächen, moderne Ravioli mit Brot, das ist eigentlich ganz spät gekommen. Tomato war wahrscheinlich schon ein bisschen früher.
Yeah.
With any language, you have that with Latin, like depending on when it came into the language, also
Yeah.
in English, it's going to be different.
And probably the language that it came from, so I don't know where the word radio metro came from, but then with the fruits and vegetables, then I don't know, it's different. But there are loan words in Finnish a lot from Russian, from maybe not a lot, maybe more Swedish and Russian. You can find them, I would say a lot, but they exist. And English, of course, lately, Phonetic has become a hot topic, which means friend. Okay.
I have a question here. So in German, the word like candy
Yeah.
is awesome, but in like English culture, it's kind of like a
Doesn't mean.
it's a weird. So are there any of those in Finnish that come to your mind? Like they take an English word but have a completely different.
I'm looking at Baba, who's also thinking.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything right now. But
Okay.
well, no. I'll let you know if I think of something.
Maybe cool.
Pardon?
Cool.
Cool. Cool. Well, no. No, there's no thank you in Finnish. So sometimes people say like, wait, no, there's thank you, sorry. There's no please. So sometimes people say like, please. But that means the same
How
thing.
to express?
Is it P-L-I-S or P-L-I-I-S? How do you express the idea?
Yeah,
You use the
okay.
conditional. Like, could I have this? But everything's really straightforward, so you don't have to dance around what you want. You just say.
Yeah, but just, I mean, just be polite.
Yeah, you're polite with the
Conventional
conditional.
politeness.
Yeah, I would like. Haluaisin. Okay. So, and we're gonna get to those sentences because I want you guys to actually see more than just words. But so one of the things that we need to learn a few tiny things before we can actually put together some sentences. And I wish I had an eraser. Does anybody have some napkin or something? Okay, well we can pretend those words are not there for now. Yeah. Okay, so these are the 6 local cases, which are basically half of the 12 cases that are used. And you're going to learn them right now, and it's going to be awesome, and you're going to walk out of here. Like, I know 6 out of 12. So, ignore the bottom for now. Let's just look at the top 3. And basically, these are endings that you add on to, let's say, a noun to give you a context of that noun. So like I said, straightforward. In Finnish, you don't just talk about chair, you talk about on the chair. You know, you want to put everything in context so it has a purpose. And it's like German, where you want to know like what you're talking about, why you're talking about, how it's relevant. So basically, these are things to do with kind of the inside of something. So here, you're just inside. You're in the water, you're in the canoe. And this is the SSA ending. We'll come back to this. This is something that's going away from the inside of something. So if you're taking something outside of a box, you're taking your foot out of a shoe, or you're putting something into a shoe. So there's 3 ones. In the box, outside of the box, and going into the box. So I'm going to draw a box. Okay, so you have, I'm going to use talo as our word. So talossa is in the house, right? Then when we're leaving the house, talosta. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can see. Talosta. And then when we're going inside the house, we're going talon. So we just extend the same vowel here, we put it again, and then add an N. And what I like about this is that it's almost like visual, like talon, you're going into the house. Any questions about this so far? Yes?
So since house is talo,
Yeah?
and the ending is on, That's why you have two O.
The ending. It's vowel. It's like the ending
you
extend
okay.
the same vowel and then add an N.
You extend the vowel and
Yeah.
add an N.
Yeah,
You
so I would
you don't
write it.
add on, you extend the vowel and add an N.
Yes, sorry. So let me put this here. Extended vowel and then N.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ich stelle die Frage auf Englisch. Hier spricht man von Cases. Ja. Aber wo ist der Unterschied zwischen einem Präfix auf Deutsch und einem Suffix auf Präfix aus, in, ein? Das ist eigentlich, auf Deutsch gibt es eigentlich Präfix,
So,
ein, aus.
This is a bit like aus.
Nee, und das ist eigentlich, weil man spricht bei Finnish und bei Türkisch und immer von Fällen. Aber wo ist, die Deutschen sagen auch reinkommen, rauskommen, zu und so. Das heißt, wir haben eigentlich die gleiche Elemente, die werden aber nicht als Fälle, aber als eigenständige Wörter behandelt. Und bei Ungarisch und Finnisch spricht man von Fälle, obwohl es wahrscheinlich nur eine Variation mit einem Suffix, das kommt hinten, entsprechend sind die Linguisten und die Leute, die sich mit Grammatik beschäftigen, immer als Fall, weil es hinten kommt. Aber auf Deutsch kommt es vor. Und das ist eigentlich, ändert genau die gleiche, die Verben auf der finnische Weise. Und es gibt sicher auf Deutsch mindestens 20 Präfix, die auch, wenn man sie so betrachten könnte, auch als Fall könnte.
Ja, im Prinzip tun diese Suffixe das gleiche wie im Deutschen zum Beispiel die Präpositionen. Ja.
Präposition und Präfix.
Ja.
I think the difference is that these cases can also be used for something that's not location though.
Yeah, so
It's not only location, it can be used for something else as well.
Nee, aber es gibt auf Deutsch auch für diese Sachen eigentlich andere Präpositionen.
Yeah,
So
but
what's
you
the
would use
question?
like the same cases for something else.
yeah, these are just
Cases
very.
has to do with nouns, not verbs.
No, but I think the main
Ja, aber es gibt auf
difference.
Deutsch, es gibt auch der Ausgang, der Eingang, genauso.
Yes, but I think the main difference would be that you can use aus, ein, as words on their own, and you wouldn't say sta,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't say sa, and you wouldn't say on. But you couldn't use these suffixes as. So I think it's an artificial thing. You're right, but I think that's the difference.
Ja.
There are also some prepositions and postpositions in Finnish as well, but we don't have time. But these are kind of the basis of the language. You can use a lot saying just these, and then you can learn some other ones as well. But yeah, it's just that you can't mix them. You can't be like, I'm going to use this ending as a preposition. Okay, I have to speed up. So this is a closed concept. And then there's the open concept. So think of a table or a bench or like a mountain, or I know it's a desert, but like a desert mountain. So if you have, I'll take a table as an example. So if you have on the table, it would be like pöydällä. Okay, and now you're gonna ask me what table is, and it's pöydä. No, I wanted to use piha. That's why I talked about that word. Hold on. So, yard. When you're in a yard, it's an open space, right? So if you're pihalla, you're in the yard, open space. Right, Paula, can I ask for piha? Okay, if you're coming from the yard and you're going in a school, for example, then you say pihalta. This one. So like if you come off the bench too, you would say like penkilta. And then if you're going to the yard, then you say pihalle. And fun fact, if you say like olen pihalla, I'm in the yard, it can also mean like I'm really confused and I have no idea what's going on. So is anybody pihalla? Does that make sense? Okay, so you just learned 6 out of 12 cases. Are they doable? Yeah?
Are they always regular?
What do you mean? The endings, mostly there are like a couple words like home, like also in German zu Hause. So there's like you would say kotona, koti, kotona. It's a different case. There's a couple, but there's like a handful of those. And what scares people is the stem change. So sometimes, like I avoided using böuta, the table, because it's böuta, and then when you start inflecting it, it becomes, wow, böudalla. So this letter changes, but I don't have time to explain to you why, but it's not irregular, it's just the stems start to change. But basically, the short version of that is that it's easier to pronounce that way. And yeah, I don't have an hour, but if I did, I could explain to you exactly why, and you would be really excited.
The front case, the second, is it pihala or pihalta?
Pihalta. Which one?
Right, yeah.
Pihal. Oh, what did I write?
Yeah, that's what I was
Pihal. Yeah,
wondering.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for spotting that. Pihalta. Okay, I'm gonna skip through okay, we have like 6 minutes. So I want to get to your sentences because I think that would be a fun way to spend the next 5 minutes. So let's skip those, and I'll put the verbs to have and to be. Okay, I'm gonna try to explain this in 1 minute. Okay, this is the verb to be, olla. So the nice thing about Finnish verbs is that they always use these endings. Yeah, let's go with this for now. I will explain why. Sorry. Okay. 1 minute. And that you see these patterns all throughout the language. So whatever the tense, the stem might change to accommodate past tense, but the endings are the same in all the verb types. Yes, that is, the endings are the same. And the interesting thing is that if you think about to be, you can also kind of think about to have. And this is how Finns think about it. I don't know if they know that they think about it this way, but this is how I think they think about it. Is that when you have something that is, he is, or she is, and on, you can also say that, I had this thought out this morning. Basically, in Finnish, you would inflect the prepositions to say around me is. And that is the concept of having. And I'm going to show what that looks like. So around me is, and that means I have. And so to use this around me, we use this case, the LLA.
So you're saying, excuse me, that the verb to be, the verbs to be and to have are the same verb?
Yes.
Like in Russian.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, I didn't know that. And basically, this doesn't say anything about Finnish culture, like if it's near me, it's mine. But rather, it's quite the opposite. But what it's that the things that are yours are usually around you. That's how I think of it. But I haven't actually compared this with today. So this is what it looks like, and this does not happen with all verbs. You don't inflect all the pronouns. Usually they're the same. But here, it's just the first thing where like foreign speakers tend to be like, what? But yeah, so this is why. Minulla on, sinulla on, and it's around me is, around you is, around he or she is, around us is, around you, plural, is, teillä on, heillä on, around. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's take some sentences. I don't think that was, I think we have 10, well, I'm supposed to be done now. But 3 sentences. Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. Anybody? Yes, please?
I visited Kemijärvi and fell in love with it.
What?
I visited Kemijärvi and fell in love with it.
I visited Kemijärvi and fell in love with it. Okay. Shall we use käydä? Mä kävin.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that you're here. And I don't be afraid. Okay, so you can say minä, but but it's optional. Kävin Kemijärvellä. This is a place, by the way. So järvi so that I'm happy. Mä kävin Kemijärvellä ja rakastuin siinä. Joo. Rakastuin siinä. So in Finnish, you fall love into it. So this siihen, when it's just se, But siihen is that on, talon, siihen. You can like, I just see it as very concrete and visual. Siihen.
Englisch, Deutsch, ziehen.
Siihen.
Natürlich.
Yeah.
Irina?
Yes.
There. Can I ask like one more question about the verb to have?
Yeah.
If you have multiple things, then it is, for example, minulla olevat, right?
No, then it's always
No
just
matter
yeah.
how many things.
yeah. Minulla on koiria. I have dogs. Minulla on
Okay.
I don't know.
Means there is no conjugation. With verbs. There is no conjugation.
There are plural. I didn't say anything about plural cases. We can say that for next year. But yeah, you inflect also in the singular and the plural, the cases. But there's no conjugation in when you, okay, no matter what the case is for the pronouns, because there are other cases you can inflect as well, then you only use this one. So no matter what verb this would be, if you inflect that, then it always comes out.
They're always the same, the verbs.
Yeah, but if the pronouns are all like not like that, then you conjugate the verb. But yeah, I promise it makes sense if you like look at it for a little while. Yeah. Okay. Sentence 2. Oh. Okay. 2, 3. Maybe we'll have time for 4.
You have beautiful smiling eyes.
Okay. Paula.
Sinulla on kauniit, was it beautifully or beautiful?
No, kauniit.
Hymyilevät. Silmät.
Silmät. Yeah. I am proof that you don't actually need to know all the details to speak the language.
It
Yeah.
sounds very logical.
Yeah, sinulla on kauniit hymyilevät silmät. And this is the plural of the nominative. And I didn't have time to explain that to you. But it ends with a T, and then we made it plural, so that's why there's like a lot of extra stuff. Sinulla on kauniit hymyilevät silmät. Liam.
How do you say, where the hell am I?
How do you say hell?
Missä helvetissä olen?
Missä helvet? One T. Helvetissä.
Yeah.
So it's written with 2 T's, but because I'm adding this ending, then the 1 T, two T's becomes 1 T.
Is helvet loan from Swedish?
It's Swedish, I think.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, helvet.
Okay. This is the proper way. I'm not going to go into spoken language today. You had also a question.
There's an elephant in my shower, but I think he's sleeping.
Okay. Very useful. This could be a Duolingo sentence.
My photograph is full of heels. Do you want the loan word of elephant or the real Finnish word for elephant? Because you could say elefantti, but we'll say norsu. That's the real Finnish word. So, Paula, you can correct me. Minun suihkussa on norsu, mutta luulen, että olen nukumassa, että hän on nukumassa,
Joo.
että se on
Joo,
nukumassa.
se on nukumassa.
Se on 1K nukkumassa.
Joo.
Okay.
Do
2Ks?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Ja
my.
Joo.
Oh wait. Okay.
Suihkussani.
Yeah. Okay. So nobody speaks like this, by the way, but this is how it's properly written. So minun suihku is shower. Suihkussa, and then because you have this, you also add this because the possessive has. You can use it like in the beginning, and you can also use it at the end. So you can use both, or you can use either or. So you can do whatever you want. Minun suihkussani on norsu. So my shower, in my shower is elephant. Mutta luulen, but I think, että that, se on, it is, nukkumassa. So in the sleeping.
Ja, das war ganz toll.
Dankeschön. Dankeschön.